Hello viewers, my name is Dr. Ajay, Associate Professor from the Department of ECE, IARE Engineering College, Hyderabad. Today we are going to discuss the topic helical antenna. Today we are going to discuss the topic helical antenna from the course Antennas, Waves and Propagation. Let us start our session. So it is basically a simple broadband VHF and UHF antenna which provides circular polarization. So today we are going to discuss about the construction, the working and the operation of the helical antenna, and what are the design equations for designing an helical antenna, and let us see about the advantages, disadvantages and limitations and applications of the helical antenna. Here on the display you can see here the basic design of the helical antenna. So it is basically a VHF antenna and a UHF antenna. It means that a very high frequency and a ultra high frequency antenna. It works under 3 to 30 MHz and 30 to 300 MHz of frequency range. So VHF and UHF, it works under 3 to 30 and 30 to 300 MHz and 30 to 300 MHz. So these are the frequency ranges where an helical antenna will work. And also it provides a circular polarization. So it provides a circular polarization. So here what is the meaning of polarization? So polarization means the orientation of electric field with respect to the surface of the earth. The orientation of electric field with respect to the surface of the earth, we call it as polarization. So here the wave is propagating in this way. It means that the electric field it is in this direction. It means that the electric field is in this direction with respect to the surface of the earth. And if at all the electromagnetic wave propagating in free space, it is in this way. Now the electric field is in this direction. The electric field is in this direction with respect to the surface of the earth. So here, basically in polarization, we have different types of polarization we are having. One is the vertical polarization. The other one is horizontal polarization. So what is vertical polarization? So if the orientation of the electric field is perpendicular to the surface of the earth, we call it as vertical polarization. It means that you can observe here the orientation of the electric field with respect to the surface of the earth, it is perpendicular. As the electric field is perpendicular to the surface of the earth, this is the surface of the earth, hence we call it as the vertical polarization. Or we can also simply call it as the antenna is vertically polarized. An antenna is said to be vertically polarized. And if at all the electric field it is horizontal. It is horizontal with respect to the surface of the earth. Like this. This is E. If this is E, and if this is the surface, if the electric field E it is perpendicular to the surface of the earth, we call it as the horizontal polarization. So these are the two different types of polarization, and also we can say whether an antenna is vertically polarized or horizontal polarized depending upon the electric field, depending upon the orientation of the electric field. If the electromagnetic waves are propagating along one cycle, that is along 360 degrees, then the wave is said to be circularly polarized. Here, this helical antenna performs circular polarization. So the design of the helical antenna is it will produce circularly polarized waves. These are the waves produced by the helical antenna. Here we can see on the display the structure of the basic construction of the helical antenna. You can see here in the end of the helical antenna, there is an inner conductor and outer conductor. Here The inner conductor, it is wound up in the form of a loop. It is wound up in the form of a loop by n number of turns. So here there are n number of turns. That is here 1, 2, 3. There are 4 turns here. There are 4 turns here. Right? If you take a small conductor, if you take a small conductor and if you take a length of a conductor is suppose it is 1 meter. If you if you turn this conductor in the form of n turns, it becomes an helical antenna. It becomes an helical antenna. Here you can see here in the design of the helical antenna, the end of the internally there is one conductor. We call it as an inner conductor, and external there is another conductor which is known as the outer conductor. So inner conductor and outer conductor. And here the spacing between the two turns is taken as S. You can see here the spacing between the two turns, it is taken as S. And this helical antenna, it is made up of by a material which is called as helix. This helical antenna, the material which we design for helical antenna, it is made up of a material which is known as the helix. And here D represents the radius of the wire. D represents the radius of the wire. And here D represents, here capital D represents the diameter of the loop. Here capital D represents the diameter of the one turn or diameter of n turns, D. And here A represents the axial length. Here A represents the axial length. So this is known as the axis. This is the axis of the helical antenna. The axis of the helical antenna, it depends upon the number of turns of the loop, and also the spacing between the turns, So the total axial length, it is calculated based upon n and s, based upon the number of turns and the spacing s. Based upon the number of turns and the spacing s. That means A is given by n into s. Here, the outer conductor, it is connected to the ground plane. You can see here, the outer conductor, it is connected to the ground plane. And the inner conductor is connected to the helical antenna. So generally the transmission line that we are going to feed the helical antenna, which we use, it is known as the coaxial cable. That means the end portion of the helical antenna is attached to the coaxial cable, where a coaxial cable consists of two types of conductors. One is inner conductor and the outer conductor. So in every coaxial cable, the inner conductor, it is connected to the wire of the helical antenna, and the outer conductor, it is connected to the ground plane of the helical antenna. So here you can observe here, this is known as the feeding section. So we can also call it as feeding. Feeding means giving an input signal to the helical antenna. We need to excite the helical antenna to produce electromagnetic waves. So in order to do excitation, we use a balanced transmission line, which is known as a coaxial cable at the end of the helical antenna. Here small d represents the diameter. Small d represents the diameter of the conductor. And here capital D represents the diameter of the loop or diameter of one turn. So diameter of the turns we represent as capital D, and the diameter of the conductor, which we are going to use for designing the helical antenna, it is called as a small d. And here S represents, you can see here the S represents the spacing between the turns, loops. So here there are 4 loops. And there is spacing between the 2 turns. So this is one turn. You can see here. This is another turn. So the spacing between these 2 turns, it is taken as capital S. So this is about the basic construction of helical antenna. So in order to construct an antenna, a helical antenna, we need a small conductor, we need a coaxial cable, and we need a feed wire. We need a feed wire which is used to excite the helical antenna. And whenever we are designing a helical antenna, see that the spacing between the turns is uniform. And if you want to increase the radiation intensity or the directivity, you need to increase the number of turns. So here there are only 4 turns. Here there are only 4 turns. So by increasing the number of turns from 4 to 10, we can increase the directivity of the helical antenna. You can increase the directivity of the helical antenna. Here, the waves are produced in this axis. So in this direction, the waves are produced. So this is unidirectional. This is a unidirectional antenna. So helical antenna, it is a unidirectional antenna where the waves are produced from one end of the helical antenna. So this is about the basic construction of the helical antenna. Now we will see some design equations for helical antenna. So here you can see in the display here, helical antenna, it is an example of a wire antenna and itself forms the shape of a helix. It is made up of a material of helix. It is made up of a material which is known as a helix. The helical antenna or helix antenna, it is antenna in which the conducting wire is wound in helical shape. So this shape, we call it as helical shape. So this is known as a helical shape and is connected to the ground plate with a feeder line. You can see here, this is a ground plate. You can see here on the display, this is a ground plate. Right? So the ground plate and there is on the transmission line here, there is a transmission line which is known as a coaxial cable. So there will be a coaxial cable here and a ground plane here. You can observe in the display. It is the simplest antenna which provides circularly polarized waves. So it is made up of a material which is known as helix. It is a conducting wire which is wound in a helical shape and connected to the ground plate with a feeder line. So it is the simplest antenna which provides circularly polarized waves. So generally, this helical antenna, it is used for satellite communication. So if you want to receive the signal from the satellite, this is the best antenna. So if you want to receive the signal, the frequency signal or the radio signal from the satellite, so the best antenna which is suitable for satellite communications, it is helical antenna. And these antennas require wider outer space. So these antennas require wider outdoor space. So these are not located inside of homes. So these are located only in the outdoor space, in the outdoor environment. So it consists of a helix of thick copper wire or tubing wound in the shape of a screw thread used as an antenna in conjunction with a flat metal plate called a ground plate. So as we have seen in the display just now that it is made up of a copper wire or tubing wound in the shape of a screw thread used as an antenna in conjunction with a flat metal plate called a ground plate. So at the end of the helical antenna, there is a ground plate. Here. So one end of the helix is connected to the center of the conductor. So this is the coaxial cable transmission line. There is a small internal conductor, and this is connected to the inner conductor. So this is the center of the transmission line, which is also called as inner conductor. It is connected to the helical antenna, and here there is outer conductor. This is connected to the ground plane. So the radiation of a helical antenna, it depends upon the diameter of the helix, the turn spacing, and the pitch angle alpha. So the radiation of the helical antenna depends upon the diameter of the helix. So you can see here on the display here, the radiation of the helical antenna depends upon the diameter of the helix or the turn spacing. So it is the number of the spacing between the turns and also the pitch angle alpha. So you can modify based upon the structure of the helical antenna. You can make this as, so here this S it can be shown as, this is S, and the circumference, this is D, the diameter. The circumference is represented as a vertical line here. You can see here this is a vertical line, and this is shown here as a vertical line here. Circumference is equal to C is equal to pi D. And here L, the total, this is known as L, length of one turn. The length of one turn is indicated as capital L. So based upon based upon the structure of the helical antenna. So we need to design the helical antenna. We need to fix how much amount of spacing must be there between the turns, and how many number of turns must be used for an helical antenna, and what is the pitch angle alpha. So the pitch angle alpha is nothing but it depends upon the diameter of the helix, the turn spacing, and the pitch angle alpha. So you can see here again on the display. So here there is S here. You can see here there is S. So S can be represented like this. You can represent as S like this. And here this is the circumference. This is the diameter. So this can be represented vertically like this. So C is equal to pi d. C is equal to pi d. And this is known as the length of one turn. So this is length of one turn, which we indicate as like this L. And this angle we call it as alpha. This angle we call it as alpha, which is known as a pitch angle alpha. Pitch angle alpha. C is equal to pi d. And this is the length of one turn. S is the spacing. So this is the equivalent diagram which we have drawn from the basic structure of the helical antenna. So based upon this configuration, so we can write some equations for this helical antenna. So D is the diameter of the helix, S is the turn spacing from center to center, and alpha is the pitch angle. So if you apply here tan alpha, so tan alpha is equal to tan inverse of S by pi d. So tan alpha is equal to tan alpha is equal to S by pi d. So tan alpha is equal to opposite side to theta by adjacent side to theta. So S by C. So tan alpha you can write as S by C. What is C? C is equal to pi d. C is equal to pi d. So from this equation, alpha is equal to tan inverse of S by pi d. So alpha is equal to tan inverse of S by pi d. We can write from this figure. So we can if you want to find out the value of alpha, it depends upon the spacing, it depends upon the turn spacing, and it depends upon the diameter. It depends upon the spacing and it depends upon the diameter, the pitch angle. Right? The pitch angle, it is the angle between the line tangent to the helix wire and the plane normal to the helix axis. So you can observe here in the figure here. This is the helical antenna. So what is alpha? The alpha is known as the pitch angle. So it is a line tangent to the helix wire. So tangent to the helix wire and a plane normal to the helix axis. Right? If you draw a tangent here, this is the tangent here. This is the helix wire, and which is known as a tangent. And a plane normal to the axis. So this is normal to this axis. This is an axis. You can draw again here. Here you can see here. This is the tangent to the helix wire, and the plane normal to the helix axis. This is a plane normal to the helix axis. Right? So if you join these two lines, this is known as L. The length of one turn, and this is represented as S, and this is the circumference C is equal to pi d. So alpha is equal to tan inverse of S by pi d. So this is from this basic structure we have drawn the diagram. This diagram C is equal to pi d, S and L. So the number of turns are denoted by N. So now if you can increase the number of turns to increase the directivity of the helical antenna. So the axial length is given by the product of the number of turns multiplied by the spacing between the turns. So the axial length A is equal to Ns. The length of one complete turn is denoted by L. So here L means, so this is the length of one turn. From here to here we call it as length of one turn. So from the figure you can observe here, if this is S, if this is L, if this is alpha, and if this is C is equal to pi d, we can write L is equal to, from the Pythagoras theorem, L square is equal to S square plus C square. L square is equal to S square plus C square, and L is equal to square root of S square plus C square. L is equal to square root of S square plus C square, and this is square root of s square plus c is equal to pi d. We know that c is equal to pi d. So we can write c is equal to pi d whole square. So if you want to design an helical antenna, see that the length must be equal to root of s square plus c square. So L is equal to root of s square plus c square. So this is one of the design equation for helical antenna. So the design equation for helical antenna is, one is tan alpha is equal to s by c, that is s by pi d, and another equation is L is equal to root of s square plus c square. S square plus c square. So tan alpha is equal to s by c. This is one design equation for a helical antenna. And another design equation for helical antenna is L is equal to square root of s square plus c square. S square plus c square. There are different modes of operation for helical antenna. One is the normal mode of radiation. The other one is axial mode of radiation. So the same helical antenna will be operated in two different modes. The first one is a normal mode or perpendicular mode of radiation. Normal mode or perpendicular mode of radiation. And the second one is axial or end fire or beam mode of radiation. See, in the normal mode, so when we can say the antenna is said to be in normal mode, see here, when the spacing, this is known as the spacing, when the spacing tends to 0, this helical antenna will be vanished and it will formed like a single loop. So for this single loop, the radiation pattern will be like this. The radiation pattern will be bidirectional. That means it is perpendicular. That means if this is the axis, for this axis, the radiation pattern is perpendicular. That means whenever this helical antenna is compressed in such a way that the spacing between the turns tends to 0, when the spacing between the turns tends to 0, this helical antenna is modified as a single loop. So when it is vanished, when the number of terms have been vanished and it is modified as a single loop, then the radiation pattern will vary. So the radiation pattern becomes in this way. Right? So this is known as a normal mode, where the radiation pattern is perpendicular to the axis of the helical antenna or to the axis of the loop. So this is the axis. You can say this is the axis. To this axis, the radiation is perpendicular. You can see here, this is perpendicular radiation. This is the axis of the helical antenna. For this single loop, it is perpendicular. Hence, it is known as a normal or perpendicular mode of radiation. This is the normal mode of radiation, which is happening in the normal mode. That is, the perpendicular mode of radiation happens in the normal mode only. And if you take an axial mode or end fire or beam mode of radiation, so end fire means, if this is an helical antenna, the mode of radiation or the beam of radiation, it will be produced at this end. So this is the end point of the helical antenna. The radiation pattern will be unidirectional. The radiation pattern will be fired at the end of the helical antenna. The radiation pattern will be fired at the end portion of the helical antenna. So this is called an axis of the helical antenna. If you see here, this is the axis. This center line is known as the axis of the helical antenna, and this is the end portion of the helical antenna. As the radiation is produced at this end, that means the radiation is fired. The radiation is fired at the end of the helical antenna, or along the axis of at the end portion of the helical antenna, or the beam is produced at the end portion of the helical antenna. Hence, we call it as an axial mode or beam mode of radiation. Right? So this axial mode or this end fire beam or a beam mode of radiation, it will produce when there are n number of turns. In the helical antenna. So when there are n number of turns, the radiation pattern is unidirectional. In one particular direction, the radiation will happen. And in the normal mode, the helical antenna is been modified as a loop antenna. For that loop, the radiation pattern will be bidirectional. That means the same helical antenna can be operated in normal mode and axial mode. That means depending upon our requirement, you can modify the design of the helical antenna in such a way that if our requirement is to produce electromagnetic waves in bidirectional, you can use the helical antenna in normal mode. If you want to use the helical antenna, only for a particular application like unidirectional applications, then you can go for the axial mode of radiation. Then you can go for the axial mode. So in normal mode, the beam is bidirectional, and in the axial mode, the beam is unidirectional. So in normal mode of radiation, the radiation field is normal to the helix axis. The radiation field is normal to the helix axis. So as just now I told you that this is the normal. This is the basic general antenna. So when we can say this is normal mode means under the condition where NL is far less than lambda. When the product of number of turns and the length of one turn is far less than lambda, then in that case we call it as the helical antenna is operating in the normal mode. Helical antenna is operating in the normal mode. So in this normal mode, what happens when NL is far less than 0? When NL is far less than lambda and S tends to 0, that means the spacing between the turns is 0, this helical antenna is going to modify as a single loop. To the helix axis. This is the axis. So you can see here, this is the axis and this is the axis. Right? So in the normal mode of radiation, the radiation field is normal to the helix axis. So in this mode, the maximum radiation is emitted in the direction of the plane perpendicular to the axis of the antenna. So see here, this is the loop, and this is the radiation pattern of the helical antenna in the normal mode. This beam of radiation, it is perpendicular. Perpendicular to the axis of the antenna. And this mode of operation can be achieved when the dimensions of the antenna are comparatively smaller than the wavelength. That means the dimensions NL must be far less than lambda. This small dimensional antenna offers low radiation efficiency and very narrow bandwidth. Right? So if your requirement is to achieve narrow bandwidth, then you can use the helical antenna in the normal mode. So in the normal mode, the radiation efficiency is very less. In the normal mode, the radiation efficiency is very less. The radiated waves are circularly polarized. The waves produced by the helical antenna are circularly polarized. That means circular waves will be generating from the helical antenna. A helix resembles like a small loop, a combination of small loop and a short dipole. Thus, its radiation pattern resembles the radiation pattern of a combination of a short dipole and a small loop placed along the axis of the helix. So helix resembles like a combination of a small loop and a short dipole. So why? Because a small loop and a short dipole will be having the same radiation pattern. A small loop and the short dipole will be having the same radiation pattern. If you take a short dipole antenna, the radiation pattern is same. It will be like this. If you take a loop antenna, the radiation pattern will be same. Like a bidirectional pattern. So a helix resembles a combination of small loop and short dipoles. Thus, its radiation pattern resembles the radiation pattern of a combination of short dipole and a small loop placed along the helix of the axis of the helix. So these radiation patterns, which are similar to the small loop and a short dipole, is possible only in the normal mode only. So in the normal mode, in a helical antenna, it acts like a combination of a short dipole and a small loop placed along the axis of the helix. So if this is the axis of the helix, in normal mode, this will be compressed to a single loop when S tends to 0, and this is the axis, So for this, the radiation pattern will be bidirectional, right? So the radiation pattern will be bidirectional. If the spacing S tends to 0, but the diameter is constant, then the helix resembles like a loop, right? If S tends to 0, that means the spacing between the turns tends to 0, then the helix resembles like a loop. But if the spacing is fixed, while the diameter tends to 0, if the spacing is fixed, you can see here, but the diameter tends to 0. That means, see here, this is the loop, and if the diameter tends to 0, that means the spacing is fixed. The spacing is fixed, and if this diameter tends to 0, then it becomes a linear conductor. Right? So this linear conductor is nothing but a dipole antenna. This linear conductor, it is nothing but a dipole antenna whose radiation pattern is bidirectional. And if S tends to 0, the helical antenna, it will be modified as like a loop antenna, right? And its radiation pattern is also bidirectional. So here you can observe here, it is a combination of a short dipole and a small loop placed along the axis. It means that when the diameter tends to 0, it will be the helical antenna. It will become a linear conductor. The linear conductor is nothing but it is a dipole antenna. So for that dipole antenna, the radiation pattern will be bidirectional. Similarly, when S tends to 0, but the diameter is kept as constant, then the helix resembles like a loop. This radiation pattern also will be bidirectional. Hence, in normal mode, we can say that the helical antenna is going to appear like a combination of a short dipoles and a small loop. So, combination of a short dipole and a small loop, which are placed along the axis of the helix. So, axial mode is also referred to as end-fire mode of operation. As here, the maximum radiation emission occurs along the helix of the axis. So, this is the helical antenna. This is known as the axis. So, along the axis, the radiation pattern will be. So, along the axis of the helix, maximum radiation occurs. So, the difference between the normal mode and the axial mode is that in normal mode, the maximum radiation is along the perpendicular direction of the axis, while in the axial mode, the maximum radiation is along the axis itself. See here, this is the axis in axial mode. The radiation pattern will be like this, and in the normal mode, it will be perpendicular. So it will be perpendicular to the axis. So the main difference between the normal mode and the axial mode is that in normal mode, the maximum radiation is along the perpendicular direction of the axis, while in the axial mode, the maximum radiation is along the axis itself. This mode of operation is achieved when the dimensions of the antenna are equivalent to wavelength. So when an antenna can be said in axial mode means when NL is approximately equal to lambda. So when NL is approximately equal to lambda, then the helical antenna is said to be in axial mode. If NL is far less than lambda and S tends to 0, so in this condition, under these conditions, the helical antenna is said to be in normal mode. And when NL is approximately equal to lambda, then the helical antenna is said to be in the axial mode. So this mode of helical antenna, it produces a broad and highly directional beam in the axial direction. A broad and highly directional. It means that the radiation pattern will be broader in size. At the same time, the directivity will also be very high. So highly directional beam radiation pattern is produced at the end portion of the axial, the end portion of the helical antenna in axial mode. So here, if you want to increase the directivity, then the number of turns has to be increased. Then the number of turns, here there are only 2 turns. So you can also increase the number of turns to increase the directivity, of the helical antenna in the axial mode. So this is the radiation pattern of the helical antenna operating in the axial mode. You can see here highly directional pattern. This is the highly directional beam is produced from the end portion. So if this is the helical antenna, from the end portion along the axis, if this is the axis, so along the axis of the helical antenna in the axial mode, a highly directional beam is produced. So there are some equations To find out the electric field produced by the helical antenna, so the far field of a small loop is given by E pi is equal to 120 pi square into I into sin theta by R into A by lambda square. So as we have studied in the earlier session of loop antenna, so this equation has been taken from the loop antenna. Why? Because in the normal mode, the helical antenna acts like a loop. In normal mode, the helical antenna acts like a loop. So the electric field of the loop antenna, it is given by 120 pi square I into sin theta by R into A by lambda square into A by lambda square. So here A represents the area of the loop. So area of the loop is given by pi A square. So if this is the loop antenna and if this is the radius A, the area is given by pi A square. And I is known as the retarded current, so which is indicated as in braces I. So whenever we indicate in braces the current I, it is known as the retarded current. So I indicates the current, and in braces if you indicate the I, so it becomes the retarded current. And R is a distance at an observation point. R, it is a distance where the field is produced from the antenna, and A is the area of the loop. So we can also represent in terms of a diameter also. So we know that diameter D is equal to 2A and A is equal to, where here A means radius. Here A means radius and radius is equal to D by 2. So what is A? So A is equal to pi A square. So what is A? A is equal to D by 2. So D square by 4. So area is equal to pi D square by 4. So we can also represent area in terms of diameter as A is equal to pi D square by 4. And lambda, we know that lambda is wavelength, which depends upon the operating frequency. So what is the, we should know whenever we give an input signal, first we should fix some frequency, operating frequency. So depending upon the operating frequency, we can determine the value of lambda by the formula C is equal to F lambda. So lambda is equal to C by F. C by F. So we can determine based upon this expression the value of lambda. We already know C is equal to 3 into 10 power 8. 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. 3 into 10 power 8 meters per second. So the far field of a short dipole, it is given by E theta is equal to J into 60 pi I sin theta by R into S by lambda. J into 60 pi I sin theta by R into S by lambda. So here, a helical antenna in the normal mode, it is a combination of dipoles, it is a combination of short dipoles and small loops, right? So the far field of a short dipole is given by E theta is equal to J into 60 pi I into sin theta by R. So whenever the helical antenna spacing is fixed, and the diameter tends to 0, this helical antenna becomes a linear conductor. A linear conductor is nothing but it is a short dipole whose radiation pattern will be like this. And for this, the electric field E theta, it is given by J into 60 pi I sin theta by R into S by lambda. Here, based upon this electric fields, we can define the axial ratio. As the ratio of the electric field in the theta on the electric field in the pi direction. So the axial ratio is defined as the ratios of magnitudes of the field due to the short dipole due to the small loop. So mod E theta by mod E pi. That means the field produced in the theta direction to the theta direction due to the short dipole, and the field produced in the pi direction due to the small loop, it is given by the it is defined as the axial ratio. So if we substitute these two equations and if you apply the modulus, you will get S lambda by 2 pi A. S lambda by 2 pi A. So as there is a modulus here, so J get cancelled, J get cancelled, and pi I sin theta and pi I sin theta get cancelled, and there is one pi here. This pi is written here. Right? If you simplify this expression, you will get S lambda by 2 pi A. That means the axial ratio is given by the ratios of magnitudes of fields due to the short dipole and due to the small loop, which is given by S lambda by 2 pi A. Here S indicates the spacing between the turns and A indicates the area of the loop. A indicates the area of one turn or number of turns. So we know that A is equal to pi D square by 4. If you substitute A is equal to pi D square by 4, and if you simplify, you will get AR is equal to 2S lambda by pi square D square. So 2S lambda by pi square D square. So in the above expression, you substitute here A is equal to pi d square by 4. A is equal to pi d square by 4. You can substitute here in this value. So you will get, if you substitute A is equal to pi d square by 4, you will get 2s lambda by pi square d square. So this is the basic expression to find out the axial ratio, which depends upon the spacing and the diameter of the loop. The axial ratio depends upon the spacing and also the diameter of the loop. And in this, based upon this expression, the polarization of the helical antenna, it depends. The helical antenna, polarization of the helical antenna, it depends upon this expression of axial ratio. Suppose if S tends to 0, that means if S is equal to 0, then AR will be equal to 0. You can see here, there are three conditions. When AR is equal to 0, then the elliptical polarization becomes linear horizontal polarization. And when AR is equal to infinity, the elliptical polarization becomes a linear vertical polarization. And when AR is equal to 1, the elliptical polarization becomes a circular polarization. Right? So here you can see here, when S tends to 0, AR is equal to 0. When S tends to 0, then if you substitute S as 0 here, then the value of AR becomes 0. Then the value of AR, it becomes as 0. So when the value of axial ratio becomes 0, then the helical antenna will produce horizontally polarized waves. It will produce the horizontally polarized waves like this. When S tends to infinity, you will get when AR is equal to infinity. That means when AR is equal to infinity, that means, so here, this polarization of the helical antenna becomes vertical polarization. That means vertically polarized waves will be produced by the helical antenna under the condition AR is equal to infinity. Right? So here S tends to 0. When S tends to 0, so 0 by 1 is equal to 0, AR is equal to 0. And when D is equal to 0, when the diameter is equal to 0, so when the diameter of the loop becomes 0, so 1 by 0 is nothing but, it is nothing but infinity. So when AR is equal to infinity, you will get vertically polarized waves. And when S equal to 1, so when the spacing between the turns is equal to 1, then we will get circularly polarized waves. Then we will get from the helical antenna circularly polarized waves. So when AR is equal to 1, you will get, so E theta by E pi is equal to 2s lambda by pi square d square, you know already. Right? So 2s lambda, if you multiply here, these two multiply here, 2s lambda is equal to pi square d square. And S equal to, you will get pi square d square by 2 lambda. And we know that from the diagram, C is equal to pi d. And this is L, and this is L, this is alpha. C is equal to pi d. We have substituted here C square by 2 lambda here, where circumference is equal to pi d here. So S equal to C square by 2 lambda. And also we know that pitch angle tan alpha is equal to S by pi d. This is equal to tan inverse of S. So what is S? Pi square d square by 2 lambda. So you can see here. So S equal to pi square d square by 2 lambda. You can substitute here S equal to pi square d square by 2 lambda by pi d. So you will get alpha in terms of diameter, in terms of circumference. So you can represent the pitch angle alpha in terms of the diameter as tan inverse of pi d by 2 pi. You can also represent in terms of circumference tan inverse of C by 2 lambda. The terminal impedance, it is given by R is equal to 140 C by lambda. The terminal impedance, it is given by 140 C by lambda. And half power beam width, it is given by 52 by C into root of lambda cubed by ns degrees. And these are the design equations of helical antenna. And beam width between the first nulls, it is given by 115 by C into root of lambda cubed by ns degrees. So these equations we need to remember for an helical antenna. If you want to design a helical antenna in axial mode, so see that R must be equal to 140 C by lambda, and half power beam width must be 52 C by lambda cubed by ns, and beam width between the first nulls, it is given by 115 by C into root of lambda cubed by ns degrees. And the directivity, the maximum directive gain, it is given by 15 ns c square by lambda cubed, and the axial ratio, it is given by 1 plus 1 by 2n. So 1 plus 1 by 2n is the axial ratio, where n indicates the number of turns, and the directivity is given by 15 ns c square by lambda cubed. So these are the design equations for an helical antenna in axial mode. So half power beamwidth between the first nulls, and the resistance or the input impedance is given by 140 c by lambda. So these are the advantages of helical antenna. The construction is very simple and a highly directional behavior. That means the directivity can be increased by increasing the number of turns. It operates under a wide operating bandwidth, so it can be operated in ultra high frequency, so up to 3000 megahertz of signals it can receive. The operation frequency range is very high. It operates in VHF and UHF range. So highly directional behavior. The radiation pattern is broader, and the directivity can also be increased. And the advantages, applications of helical antenna. So majorly in space communications or satellite communications, we use this helical antenna. Why? Because it has a high directivity and a wider bandwidth, and also circular polarization. So due to these parameters, so these are widely used for space communication. So due to the high directivity, due to its wide bandwidth, it is going to be operated in the used in the military satellite communications, right? And the end fire of helical antenna exhibit larger size. This is bulky, and this is one of the disadvantage here. And the efficiency of the antenna depends upon the number of turns. As with the increase in the number of turns, efficiency decreases. Though the radiation pattern, the directivity increases, the efficiency, the performance of the helical antenna will decrease due to the increase in the number of turns. Though the directivity is increased in another way, the efficiency decreases. Right? The helical antenna majorly find applications in the space communications. Because of its high directivity, because of its wide bandwidth, and because of the circularly polarized waves, these helical antennas are widely used in space communication. So these are the basic advantages, disadvantages, and applications of helical antenna. So here we'll conclude this helical antenna. This helical antenna is nothing but a conductor which is wound up in the form of a loop by with n number of turns, and here there is a pitch angle where tan alpha is given by S by pi d, and also this helical antenna will operate in two modes: normal mode and axial mode. So in normal mode, it is a combination of dipoles and loops. So when we can say this as a normal mode, when NL is less than lambda, when NL is far less than lambda, we call it as the antenna is operating in normal mode, and when NL is approximately equal to lambda, then the antenna is said to be operating in the helical mode. So if you want to design a helical antenna, so you need to design based upon the equations we have shown here. So the directivity is given by 15 ns c square by lambda cubed, and r is equal to 140 c by lambda. So these are the things we need to remember for designing a helical antenna. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.